Welcome to this explainer. You know, when we think of Vedic astrology, our minds usually go straight to those complex charts, right? The planetary alignments staring out into the deep cosmos. But today, we're completely flipping that lens. We're looking inward. We're going to explore this really fascinating concept from the text Celestial Clarity, Meditation Techniques for the Vedic Astrologer. It turns out the absolute foundational tool for any serious astrologer isn't a piece of software. It's actually a clear, uncluttered mind. It's all about neutralizing your own inner karma so you can truly elevate how you read the stars. Okay, so let's dive right into our roadmap for today. We've got a fantastic ascension arc lined up. We're going to start with clearing the astrologer's mind, move into basic mantra and Om contemplation, look at harmonizing karma through the chakras, explore Sushumna breathing, and finally wrap up with daily planetary mantras. So, starting off with section 1, clearing the astrologer's mind, inner preparation. The absolute most crucial starting point here is understanding samskaras. These are our mental impressions and conditionings, and the source material gives us this brilliant analogy. Think of these impressions as literally impurities trapped inside a piece of glass, right? The more impurities you have in there, the harder it is to see the world clearly on the other side. So for an astrologer, having a mind full of samskaras basically means you're trying to look at a client's chart through a dirty, completely distorted lens. And just look at the stark contrast here. On one side, you have an astrologer weighed down by that mental conditioning. What happens? They inevitably just see their own unresolved issues reflecting right back at them in the client's chart. It leads to supervised readings. But on the flip side, the clear astrologer elevates their awareness way above those karmic impressions through daily meditation. They aren't just playing fortune teller anymore. They actually become a clear guide, showing a client how to live effectively. That's exactly why daily meditation isn't just a nice to have, it's an absolute requirement for this practice. All right, moving into section 2, basic mantra and Om contemplation, foundational techniques. Now, if you're wondering exactly where to start, the Soham basic mantra meditation is your absolute rock-solid foundation. You just sit comfortably, keep your head and neck straight, and simply observe your natural breath. Don't try to force it or control it. On the inhale, just mentally hear the sound so resonating inside you. And on the exhale, mentally listen to the sound hum. Really imagine those syllables physically vibrating within you. Eventually, as your thoughts start to settle down and this deep inner peace emerges, you can actually drop the mantra altogether and just sit in that peace. You only really need to bring Soham back if memories or distractions start popping up again. So once your mind is nice and settled with the breath, retransition to the primordial vibration of creation itself. The Yoga Sutras of Patanjali actually sets the stage for this beautifully. It says, one should vocally and mentally chant Om, attentively listen to it, meditatively contemplate it, comprehend its real nature, and identify with it. Building right off that, here's how the actual Om contemplation technique works. Find a quiet, dark place, and bring your attention to the space between your eyebrows and the crown of your head. You want to gaze into the dark space of your closed eyelids as if you're looking at a distant mountain. And then, you just listen. You're waiting to hear an inner sound current, like a high-pitched hum or maybe a ringing. And what's wild is that initially, what you're actually hearing is the electrical activity of your own nervous system. As you follow these sounds and they start to change, they draw you deeper and deeper until you hear the actual Om vibration. It literally feels like you're piercing right through any inner light you see, just trying to find its ultimate source. And that brings us to this incredible defining quote from Ernst Wilhelm. He states, japa, or mantra repetition, is affirmation and concentrated verbal communion with the divine energies that work to change one's consciousness and one's life. I love this because it reminds us that mantra isn't just some relaxation technique, right? It's a literal technology used to rewrite our consciousness. And that idea acts as the perfect bridge into our next, much more advanced stage of astrological meditation. Which takes us to section 3, harmonizing karma through chakras. Through the chakras. At the very core of this advanced practice is the Sushumna. Think of this as a radiant astral channel that runs all the way from the base of your spine straight up to the top of your head. It is the direct connection between our inner chakras and those outer cosmic planetary influences. The text explains this totally fascinating principle of reciprocity here. Basically, by harmonizing and pacifying our inner cosmos along this specific pathway, we actually ease our passage through the outer cosmos. We are literally alleviating our own karma directly. And notice the exact mapping of this inner cosmos. The planetary seeds of karma are physically localized right inside our spinal chakras. It forms this incredible ladder of cosmic energy. You start way down with Saturn grounding the root chakra at the base of the spine. Then you move up through Jupiter at the sacrum, Mars at the navel, Venus at the heart, Mercury at the throat, all the way up to the sun and moon radiating brightly at the spiritual eye. But it actually goes even further than that. Just like the planets, the entire zodiac lives within us too. It stretches from Aquarius and Capricorn down at the root, all the way up to Cancer and Leo at the spiritual eye. This completely validates why internal meditation has such a profound, undeniable effect on your external astrological readings. When an astrologer meditates on these specific energy centers, they aren't just relaxing, they are literally harmonizing with the zodiac signs themselves. Okay, so how do we actually go about actively cleansing these karmic blockages? Well, we use a technique called chanting through the chakras, using these specific mantric syllables. You start right at the base and mentally chant LUM. Then you move your attention up to the sacrum with VUM, the navel with RUM, the heart with YUM, the throat with HUM, the third eye with OM, ending all the way up at the crown with OM. And then you just simply reverse the whole process, chanting those same mantras back down the spine to the base. Repeating this practice is what neutralizes those dormant seeds of negative karma stored inside these centers.
Moving on to Section 4, Sushumna, breathing, quickening evolution. So while your natal birth chart is pretty static, the planets up in the sky are obviously always moving, right? And they're constantly triggering different karmic influences. Sushumna breathing is how we actively process this. Once your mind is calm, you imagine a hollow tube running right down the center of your spine. As you inhale deeply but really gently, you use your willpower to pull your life force, your prana, up through that tube all the way to the crown chakra. You hold that breath at the top for just 1 single second. And then you exhale effortlessly, letting that energetic current just flow back down your spine like water. By actively circulating your life force this way, you dramatically accelerate your own evolutionary process, far beyond just sitting back and letting static karma play out on its own. And finally, Section 5. Daily planetary mantras, planetary connections. Remember that So-Hum basic mantra we learned way back at the beginning of the explainer? Well, you can actually swap that out for specific planetary mantras depending on the day of the week. This is super actionable. For example, on Sunday, you would tune to the sun with Om Som, and on Monday, you would tune to the moon with Om Som. You literally just follow the planetary days right through the week. Mars on Tuesday, Mercury on Wednesday, Jupiter, Venus, and wrapping up with Saturn on Saturday using Om Shum. By doing this daily, as an astrologer, you're making direct experiential contact with the seed essence of that ruling planet. And let me tell you, that's a level of understanding you could absolutely never get just from reading a textbook. Of course, we definitely can't forget the lunar nodes, right? They are incredibly important in Vedic astrology, and they integrate seamlessly into this weekly practice too. Because the south node, K2, has a strong likeness to Mars, it shares Tuesday and uses the mantra Om Keme. Meanwhile, the north node, Rahu, closely relates to Saturn, so it shares Saturday, using the mantra Om Ram. And that brings us to our final big thought for this explainer. I really want you to ask yourself, when you look at a chart, are you actually reading the stars? Or are you just reading reflections of your own karma? The source text makes it abundantly clear. Without actively clearing those impurities from our own inner glass, we can never truly see the reality of the charts sitting right in front of us. So I highly invite you to take these techniques, the So-Hum mantra, the Om contemplation, the chakra chanting, and those daily planetary mantras, and just start applying them. Because only by harmonizing the cosmos within can we ever hope to clearly understand the cosmos above. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer today, and keep exploring.